Hello, my name is Marty. Welcome to the SBL Guru podcast. Now, in this podcast, what we try to do is we take an element of the ACCA SBL syllabus and we try to apply it in real life companies or real life organizations. So today, we're going to look at that part of the syllabus, which is all about ethics, and we're going to try to apply that into a football club. Now, football is the most popular game in the world, but even though we love it so much, it is subject to financial scandals and player misconduct. So what I'm going to talk about today is some of the theory behind what makes an ethical company and how to improve your ethical culture in your organization and apply those elements of the syllabus into a football club. The goal of doing this is to create a strong ethical culture. So although I'm talking about a football club, it can actually apply the same ideas can apply in any organization. Now, if we're going to build a strong ethical culture in our organization, it needs to start from the top of the organization. And leadership from the top is a key part of building that strong culture. So the leader must show in their words and actions that they believe that ethics is important. By providing strong leadership, they can influence others in their organization to follow the leader. So how would this apply in a football club? If we look at a football club like Arsenal, the owner of Arsenal actively engages fan groups and tries to address their concerns and fosters an open two-way dialogue with fans. So there's a communication there by the leadership of the company. But this can also apply to the managers in the organization. Managers like Pep Guardiola of Manchester City, they actively condemn discriminatory behavior, sending a strong message to the players and the fans that this unethical behavior will not be tolerated. This ethical leadership does not only have to come from the top, it also needs to apply at lower levels in the organization. So at Manchester City, it's not just Pep Guardiola leading in terms of ethical behavior, but also the senior players in the squad. They are like mentoring the younger talents in the organization to try to create a positive atmosphere both on and off the pitch. The second element we've got to take into account when we're building a strong ethical culture in our organization is to set the guidelines and boundaries of what is acceptable behavior. Now, organizations do this by establishing a code of conduct or a code of ethics, which will guide people in terms of ethical behavior, which is acceptable in the organization. Now, football clubs do this by outlining a code of conduct of acceptable player behavior. In a football club, this would include things like punctuality, respect for teammates and opponents, and adherence to anti-doping regulations. They will also outline the clear consequences that will take place if there are any breaches of the ethical code of conduct, so everybody knows where they stand. In AS Roma, what they do is they outline expectations, but also they go into quite a lot of detail in terms of outlining what their players can and cannot do in terms of their social media platforms. If they break those rules, there will be fines to pay for the players. Now, if we're going to build a strong ethical culture, it's very important that we actually have proper education and training in place. This will provide people in the organization with the knowledge and skills they need to handle ethical challenges. So in Barcelona, they actively look at this in terms of their La Masia Academy, and they try to foster an environment where players learn not just about the game, but also to focus on their life values. In the UK, the Football Association also play a role in education by providing education on topics such as anti-doping and also major issues in football like gambling. They often use ex-players who've had problems in these areas to conduct this education. So we've got a code of conduct, we've got training, but it's also important that we actually have, to maintain an ethical culture, some kind of monitoring in place, monitoring that people are complying with the rules and regulations. There's normally some kind of oversight body to check the behavior of people in organizations. At Barcelona, they have the Barcelona compliance committee, which tries to ensure that the players conform to the ethical standards. But they also have at Barcelona a whistle-blowing system in place, and it encourages people in the club to empower players to raise concerns about any unethical practices without any fear of retribution. So there's always a compliance element in place, making sure people are properly complying and monitoring the ethical behavior of people in the organizations, in this case at a football club. Now, to build the ethical culture, it's also important to have the strong team environment and team culture of mutual respect in place. At Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp creates a space for players to discuss concerns and challenges without any fear of judgment or discrimination. So it's all about building that trust. It's very important when you're trying to create an ethical culture. The last element in trying to build the ethical culture is going beyond the game and what happens on the pitch. And this will encourage players to engage in the community in social programs to foster a sense of purpose and a sense of accountability to the community in which they play. At Manchester United, they have United for UNICEF initiative, which is a global platform to support children all over the world. It benefits the club's image, but also it reinforces the positive social impact that football can have. At FC Bayern Munich, they actively engage with the community, and they have campaigns like Reds Against Racism, which encourage players to participate in anti-racism campaigns, which reflects the club's commitment to positive social responsibility. So there are some lessons there that we can learn about how to build a strong ethical culture. Starts with leadership at the top. There must be clear guidelines for the staff and training on expected ethical behavior. There needs to be some oversight body. There needs to be also mentorship at the lower levels, so everybody's role is ethical behavior. It's not just the job of the leader, but it also applies to lower level managers, senior players in the football club as well. And these ideas can be really used in any organization. The active community outreach is also sending the right message to the players, talking about the importance of working with the community, and not just on the pitch, but also outside the football club. They need to maintain strong ethical values and social responsibility. My name is Marty Windle. If you want to know more about SBL, if you want any support to get you through the exam, please look at my website. There'll be a link in the description for this podcast, or just go to www.martywindle.com. Thank you very much and good luck in your exam.